There, this is Art and Such with part 1 of my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Guinan from Star Trek Next Generation. Now this was a bit of a hard pattern to do. I tried a lot of different things, a lot of kinds of extensions. In this video I will be doing a side extension, but we're going to make it a little bit tighter here. For the hat I chose to do one of the more oval shaped ones instead of one of the flat disc ones. And I am using black beads for the eyes and the shoes. Black bands for the eyes and the shoes. I will be using a navy blue in this tutorial, but I made her first dress in purple. This was another kind of concern, is that she wears so many different outfits. But I picked purple here, and I will be doing blue in the video. And I'm using the brown from the skin tone kit for her hands and her face. I think we're ready to start. We're going to do our arm first. So you'll need a brown band and a hook. We're going to wrap it 3 times onto the hook. You'll get 4 loops there. And to make the arms a little bit thicker, to give it a bit of a looser sleeve, I'm using 3 bands for my first 2 sets here. So 3 single bands. We're going to pull the brown on top. Bring it to the center, put your other 3 on, and the next set I'm going to use 3 bands as well. And now we need 4 sets of double bands. So if you're faster, you can zip ahead here. We're going to do 4 sets of 2, and then I'll get you to make your second arm before we move on. 3, oops, and 1 more, we'll make 4. You can make your second arm and place these on you can actually keep them on your hook or place them to the side. We're going to get a side extension ready for the dress. It's this kind of lumpy piece here. So with your loom in its standard offset position, we're coming down 4 times on the left with double blue bands. And this is very similar to the extension I used for my Witch and the Wizard of Oz. From here we're going to go to the second peg up, so this is your 4th peg from the top, and you'll take 2 blue bands and bring them down to the 5th peg in the center. And we'll repeat that on the pegs above. And then we're coming up with 2 more sets of double blue from your 5th peg on the left to your 5th peg on the center. So up and over that those bands we just placed, and from the 4th peg on the left to the 4th peg on the center. We need to cap this off. We'll just cap it twice. And you put your hook underneath. What we're going to do is loop up these triangles and then loop up the side. And some of this will be a little bit loose, so you might want to hold pieces down as you go. Going to come under the cap band and loop the first one up diagonally. Get our second one and loop it back diagonally to the left. The next 2 are coming up. That looks a little bit funny. I think one of my bands came off. Let's just fix that there. Oh, that's good. Okay, as I said, they're going to try and slip on you, so try to hold on. I just switched to my other hook. It will be a little bit easier for me. Okay, and we're going to loop back to the left. Those down, and then we can come back under that bottom peg and loop upwards to the top. You are going to need 2 of these, so stop your video and make 1 more, and you can put this onto another hook or put it to the side somewhere. And we'll start putting our body in place. So 2 extensions and 2 arms. Now on our loom, I'm going to start with, you can use 3 or 4 bands. It's up to you. It depends how thick you want the neck to be. I'm going to use 3 and come from my top center peg to my second peg on the center. We'll go down to the second peg on the right with 2 bands, and the other direction to the second left peg twice. And we're going to go all the way to the bottom of the row, of the loom on either side using double blue bands. And they're just going to overlap and follow all the way down. This is probably the longest part of the video to do, actually, of our pattern to do. Is get our bands laid out on the loom, and from here it's not so bad. I like to try and get the layout ready for you before I start my videos, but I wanted to make sure we had a space to do the extension before we got overwhelmed by bands with bands. Sorry, this shouldn't take us too long. If you are a little bit faster than me and you've done this part and want to move ahead, we're gonna be taking next sets of double blue bands and bringing them down the center until we reach the 10th peg from the top in the center. I believe that's 8 sets from the neck peg. Yes. So we're gonna come down now from our second peg on the center with sets of double blues. And we're going down 8 times. Seven and 8. We can make ourselves some shoes now. I'm using black for the shoes, and I'm just going to do 2 bands wrapped twice onto my hook, and we'll pull this onto another 2 bands. Place this on the bottom left peg. And the same thing for our right side, 2 bands wrapped twice, pull it onto 2 black bands. And we'll place this on the other side on the bottom of the right. We're going to put on our cap bands now, and then we'll do our arms. Well, we can do our arms now. So stretch out your arms, get these loops ready, and we're going to put those on the second peg from the top on either side. I played around with putting the arms on a little bit lower because they kind of hang down from loose sleeves, but I didn't think it looked so good, so we're going to stick to the traditional method. I'm going to do cap bands coming down, triangular fashion, so from the third peg to the third peg, and we'll raise it above the second one there. And we'll do this again, and again, and again. And I think for the rest of these, the last of these pegs here, we're going to do doubled over bands. So take your band, turn it over onto itself, and I'm going to go right to the bottom here. So this is your 5th peg from the bottom of the loom. It's right above that, or it's crossing the middle of that last band in the center. We're going to double it, put it in a triangular band formation. I want the skirt to sit a little bit closer this time. So I'm going to double over another one and put it right on top. And let's see. We can do a half loop on the next one. So stretch it across, triangle formation, turn it, and put the turn piece back over the center. Okay, like so. And we are ready for our side extensions, and then we can loop up. So our side extensions, let me just count this out and make sure we've got it right. We should be starting these at our 6th peg from the top. And you're gonna put the top onto that peg, the one that you had on your hook. And we're gonna kind of stretch it down. So we'll put one set of bands right here where the leg starts, and one set right above it. And we should have a piece of the chain that we can just grab a band and pull it over. We'll push this down a little bit. I'll hold it up for you to see better. So of that extension, we've stretched out 2 bottom bands to that 5th peg from the bottom, and we've pulled the next group over the peg above. We have 1 band coming out of this little chain piece here to the next peg, and the ones which were on the hook have gone onto the peg above, so it spans 4. I'm going to put it on the other side. Let me switch my hook again. The thicker hooks are nice for some applications, but in general I find the really thin one is so much easier to work with. I have to get another thin one so I don't have to keep switching them back and forth. I actually got this at a knitting store. They had some really nice crochet hooks. Once again, I'm pulling 1 band out from that 2nd set, and I'm getting my big lumpy extension pieces and pulling those out onto the other 2, onto the bottom 2. Okay, and we are ready to start looping. So I'm gonna start with the center and go right up to that 2nd peg. And get your bands and bring each set of 2 up over the next set of pegs, the next peg above. We're going to go back under the feet. I'll start on the left here and get under your black band, stretch it out if you need to. Pick up your 2 blues and bring them forward. And we're going to go forward up the loom. When you get to the extensions here, just make sure what you're going to do is keep the open part of your hook pointed away. Push back the rest, take the bottom 2, bring them up and over onto the next piece. And we repeat that all the way up. Only take the bottom 2. We're going straight to the shoulder peg. When you get to the shoulder peg, dig underneath, find the bottom 2, and we're bringing them back to that center 2nd. And now I'm a little short on time here, so I'm going to get you to loop up the right side and meet me back here. We'll continue from that 2nd peg with all our columns, all our rows looped up. I'll see you back for part 2.